Hey there, writers. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Emma and I am a romance writer from the UK. Well, today I am out on location, if you like. I have been to a local sheep festival in the Welsh town of Llandovery. I've just come up, there's like a little hill with the town's castle up here. So I've come up here so that it's a little bit quieter because it is very busy down at the festival. And today I was wanting to talk to you about the terrible advice, in some ways, that it is when people say to write what you know. So I'm pretty sure that we have all heard this advice. And if you take it completely at face value, well, there are a few genres that we wouldn't actually have. We wouldn't have fantasy, we wouldn't have sci-fi, for example. I don't know about you, but I have never written a dragon, for example. So when we say write what you know, I think a better way of thinking about it is to write what you have experienced, but also what you can learn about, and use human emotions that you know in your writing as to how people would react to certain situations. And that is the most important part of that advice, because the riding on the dragon, for example, is exciting, but it's how the person doing the riding reacts, what is going on in their mind, which is the interesting part for the reader. And that is what, as writers, we need to focus on. What are they feeling? Are they cold? Are they scared? Are they excited? And the way that we can use our imaginations to work out what our characters are feeling is through the experiences that we have, both from our own experiences, but also from being with other people, from speaking to other people, from observing other people, from reading books as well, from watching TV shows and films, so that we know how human beings react to things, particularly if there are other circumstances that play a part in that. So, part of being a writer for me is people watching, is leaving the house and making sure that I'm around people, that I'm having conversations, is coming out to things like this sheep festival where I'm going to see different things. Went into the sheep tent, for example, and it was so interesting to see how people were going around, how they were reacting with each other, how they were just how they were talking, how they were also reacting, I noticed, to the smell of the sheep, because they're mostly contained in like a big marquee, and the smell is quite intense if you're not used to it. So that was very interesting as well. So, as well as the people watching, it's me having a different experience. Now, this is especially useful for me because most of my romances are set in the UK, and most of them are set in rural locations as well. So, I'm getting to watch these people who live in quite a rural part of Wales. I'm seeing the farmers with the sheep, I'm seeing the craft sellers. So, I'm thinking, wow, look at these amazing things that are made by needle felting, for example. Could I have a character who does that? That is so creative, so artistic. What would that character be? And it's just a way of getting my imagination going, of thinking of different scenarios that I can put my characters in, and different characters in general that maybe I wouldn't have thought of, or I wouldn't have thought of the occupation that I could give them, or something like that. So when we hear someone say, write what you know, in a way, it is true in that we should have as many experiences as possible and speak to as many people as possible. Although, I agree that can be scary. I'm an introvert myself. Read about as many people as possible. Watch things that have great characterization in them so that we can just learn as much as possible about people and how they react in different situations. It's also possible to learn about a lot of things, especially with the internet being such an amazing resource now. I wouldn't say that you should necessarily set a book in Venezuela if you have never been, for example, because it might be very difficult to get the real feel for that country. But maybe if you know someone who has been to, or ideally has lived in Venezuela, that's somebody that you could speak to and they could help you to get that knowledge that is important to make that story and the characters in it feel believable. Well, thank you very much for joining me today with my phone rested on top of my purse and against a bottle of cider, bizarrely, because we are always professional on this channel. If you have enjoyed this video, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, because we have a lot of fun over here, and I will catch you in the next one.